Starting now. Hey guys, it is the 24th of February 2018. We are pretty deep into the winter 2018 season, and it is episode 88 of 4PlayerAnimecast. I am your host, Spire. And did you know that your body is not your own? Darling and Frankxx, the sexual agency or the laughter.
How could you say something about my favorite Ramadan anime like that?
It should be a Christmas movie. Anyways, again, I am your host, Spire. I've been doing pretty well, relaxed, watching this and that a little bit here. A little bit busy, but
Are you sure you're doing okay, Spire?
Yeah,
Then
not after reading Mage in a Barrel, but
Then if you're doing so well, what's the reason why we're starting 2 hours earlier?
Yeah, so this obviously people who are just doing podcasts later won't know this, but we are starting at 2 hours earlier because some scheduling issues I need to work out, but that there's not too much going on. Again, I've been doing pretty decently here, watching various series. That's about it. Yeah, a lot of it I've shifted kind of back to watching more anime stuff like that, but we'll see how long that lasts. But anyways, Dark.
Pretty much keeping up with everything as usual, except I came to realize that I accidentally dropped ancient Mahoutsukai no Yome. I just kind of been neglecting to watch that, so I gotta get back to that. I started watching Frankxx, started watching Takunomi as well, I think, between last time and this time, so
Is that the
not
one? Is that the one with
too
the
much
forehead?
new. No, that's Takagi. I started watching that a while ago. Takunomi is all about drinking, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. And so pretty much, again, I guess, as you said before, you've mainly been keeping up, so we'll be talking about some other series that, we've all been watching kind of in a bit. And Toast, how have you been doing?
Hello?
Hello?
I red box Metal Gear Survive, and I beat it.
You redboxed this fucking game?
Yeah.
Ew.
There's no way you beat it unless you stayed up for 24 hours straight and just did not stop playing.
Took 2 days. So $6.
All right.
Okay. What else did you do, Toast? But it doesn't seem like you did much other than pretty much grinding out Metal Gear Survive, right? Or what'd you do this past 2 weeks, rather?
That's about it.
Yeah, just straight up Metal Gear Survive here. All right.
Yeah.
You also are going to talk about a certain series that, in my opinion, is a little bit iffy, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But Nier, how have you been doing?
I'm all right. I've been playing video games, watching anime.
James?
I've been keeping up with Darling in the Frankxx, the hit new Evangelion of our generation.
How many IQ points did you gain from it?
I don't know, like 5 or 6 maybe.
It's like transcendental brain time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already so high, it's really hard to gain some
Yeah.
at this point. But,
You've reached these Mage in a Barrel levels here already.
Yeah. Been reading the new Berserk chapter came out, our annual chapter. Casca may not be retarded anymore, so that's happening. We're making progress. First we got off the boat, now Casca's potentially not retarded, and next we'll have to take the boat back. So that'll be fun. But yeah, it's mostly just keeping up with the stuff I've been keeping up with, and some Metal Gear Survive. It's pretty fun.
What's your favorite weapon here?
Don't
say bow.
Probably spear, honestly.
Or spear. Oh, okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Why are you
Anyways,
playing Metal Gear Survive? Spire, you're the odd one out.
yeah, I'm pretty much alone here. I've been too busy not playing Metal Gear Survive, and
Loser.
which is very sad, I know, but it is my fate. But anyways,
Are you saying you read Fate instead?
yes, I read all of Fate, literally all of the Fate universe.
Nice.
But
Yeah, have you been playing Empire of Dirt
no.
Did that come out?
demo?
Oh,
Okay.
well, I don't care.
Yeah.
Why'd you bring up Fate as a segue if you didn't do anything with Inspired? Stop.
Yeah, you suck at this, dude.
Yeah, I
No.
apologize, friends. Anyways, we have to pretty much move on pretty quickly. We have 4 series to cover this episode. So, first off, I'm going to cover Takunomi. So this synopsis: 20-year-old Michiro Amatsuki. This is like the short blue-haired one, or the short hair.
The one that looks like a boy?
Yeah, tomboyish. Moved to Tokyo due to a change of career. She decided to live in the women-only share house called Stella House Haruno. People of different ages and occupations. So there are like 3 other girls mainly. She lives with them. It's mainly about her starting off with the general sort of idea or like premise, and then kind of going off and talking about slice of life things, talking about drinks, so on and so forth, with these 3 other girls who are all mainly city girls. 12 episode season. This is by Production IMS, who I think one of the first major main production works was Data Life 2, if I remember correctly. And then they branched off into mainly doing other series, such as Shinmai Mao Testament, a lot of fan service stuff, Masogaku and AHH, 100, Jokomachi no
Wow,
Deadline,
what
Twin Tail,
lowballing.
so on and so forth. But yeah, this, in contrast, Takunomi seems pretty decent in terms of how the artwork turned out. There are some, that IMS has done that it's a little bit more iffy than this, for sure. But this one turned out okay, I think. Not actually a full season, or sorry, not actually a full anime series. Like most of them is like 24 minutes per episode, right? But this one is a 12-minute. So it's not a short per se. Shorts are usually like 5 minutes, 3 minutes ish. But this one isn't like a full series. So it's like in a very kind of weird place. I'm not sure what exactly its TV slot is. But yeah, anyways. Takunomi, a lot of drinking, a lot of stuff going on. Dark, I think, has seen it as well.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm just gonna do like a quick thing and like quick review and like throw it over to you. But it's like, personally, I do really like it. I think they keep like the awkwardness of the girl, which kind of drives a lot of the basic premise for each episode, along pretty decently without making it too cringe. A lot of the talk about the food and the alcohol and stuff like that is, as per the series, pretty detailed, and then they talk about it, and then they drink, and they do kind of wacky, not wacky, but like they do cutesy like slice of life stuff. And the package itself is overall quite nice. One thing I would like to kind of point out is how sort of natural they make it seem. Like it's like it's very like ingrained in a sense where it's like you can kind of feel this like Japanese culture of like drinking is like cool, dude. And then you kind of also have to realize that this still is in a sense like a kids show, right? Like this is supposed to be treated in some sense as a kids show. So it's kind of weird to me if you think about it a little bit, like if you kind of put yourself a little bit back, that they're just like, for like 12 minutes, they're just like, man, have you drank this beer? Man, you can't drink this beer. You're not cool. Like blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So it's like not even like just talking about like beer as in like, oh, this beer is like this, whatever. This drink is like this. But like, man, yeah, like you should be drinking. Like you know what I mean? Like straight up like encouraging people to drink. So I'm still not used to that sort of idea if I think about it a little bit more. But that might just be me.
Are you saying there's a possibility that the author may be an alcoholic?
Yeah, he's just like isn't even thinking about it. He's just like, yeah, kids should drink too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think, Derek, about the series and about what I also just said in general?
I don't know. I mean, I pretty much agree with like what you had said with the like how it kind of runs its course each episode. I think it's pretty good. I think it has a nice balance, especially for something that's 10 minutes
Exactly.
between like having the sort of like
it doesn't really feel like 12 minutes. It feels like a full series, but like they just kind of pace it quite well.
yeah. I was gonna say it's surprisingly like not slow, but it doesn't feel like you're watching something that's like super short either.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's because they kind of don't have like any like sort of like they trim fat essentially between like having the slice of life section and then also the sort of like alcohol trivia. So I don't know. I think that part is really good. I don't know. The other alcohol part you're talking about, I think, is fine. You know,
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
nothing wrong with it. You know, it's for adults, just like Tokyo Ghoul. This is a show for adults.
Yeah. Jesus. But yeah, there's really not much to say about it. Again, if you like the slice of life stuff, it's like the interaction, they keep it solid. They don't go like super wacky like, how some like Sabagebu, like from way back when, sometimes had some stupid wacky interactions that sometimes went a little bit too far. This doesn't do that, keeps it all in line. The knowledge is there, keeps that one in line. Sometimes they might spend like a couple of seconds too long on the whole like you got to do this to resolve the situation or like the quote unquote drama, right? They spend maybe like 5 seconds too long on that or something like that, but beyond that there's really not much to like point out in terms of flaws. Overall, very solid in terms of what it's packaging. If you do like these sorts of slice of lives, you should probably check it out. Dark?
No, I don't really have much else to say about it, honestly. I'd say it's worth checking out because it's like, it's only 10 minutes and
Yeah.
you just may as well,
Yeah, might as well. Okay, so that was, again, a quick cover of Takunomi. Again, by Production IMS. I forget who the director was, but anyways. And Dark, your next bat with...
Sora, what the hell's the full title? I don't know. In English, it's A Place Further Than the Universe. But
Sora, Yori,
in
Tooi,
Japanese...
Basho. Yeah, Sora.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Yeah, A Place Further Than the Sky is sort of a transliteration, I guess. Yeah.
I've also seen a completely different title, and I forget what the hell it was called, but I was like...
Synonyms. A story that leads to the Antarctica.
Yeah.
Nice. There we go. That's the one.
All right.
All right. Nice.
Antarctica.
The Antarctica. Yeah, the declarative is
Did
important.
you know there's an Arctica and an Antarctica?
Damn.
It's,
Steep.
Jesus.
Deep lore.
Arctic is actually a lot bigger. That's why they call this one an ant.
Anyways, keep going.
So the premise of the story, you might not know, but they're trying to get to Antarctica. You have 4 main characters that are in high school, and for pretty much 2 out of 4 of them, they just kind of want to do something before they're like done with high school and have to start their exams.
Before their life ends.
Yeah.
The starting premise, not necessarily the continuing like backbone of it, is essentially youth, like C's youth.
Yeah, and so that's like kind of the overarching thing, I would say. It's not, like you said, it's not really in your face about that anymore. Now, like at this point in time, it's pretty much just full on just go to Antarctica to go.
Yeah.
With the group. So but in the beginning you have that, and then one of the protagonists is the long-haired girl wants to go because her mom was part of an expedition and she went missing. So
She's
she
the one
wants
that
to go
provides
and
the
see.
money, by the way.
Yeah. So she wants to go and see what. Well, she doesn't provide all the money.
Yeah,
But,
she provides a decent amount.
yeah.
Right?
And she wants to go and see. You know, obviously, like what it was, like what's so amazing about Antarctica because her mom wrote a book. So that's kind of like the setup. And so what happens is, first episode, the two main characters meet. The one that basically just wants to do something with her life before her high school life is over. So so she meets up with the one whose mom went missing, who was planning to go to Antarctica, and it's like the first sort of bit of the show is about them getting to know each other and sort of that character coming to terms with actually doing something that seems so out of reach. So that kind of gets into the fact that actually, it's probably then two other characters do get added into the mix. But more importantly, I would say than like really just describing what their roles are, is probably the fact that this kind of gets into how the show is paced out with the drama. And I think it's pretty well paced, in which it's almost episodic in a way, with sort of how it introduces a character and then maybe some drama and backstory, and then resolves it. At least until the full cast is there.
It's very, very interesting. It's actually so. I mean, more of the. So I haven't seen all of it, but the parts that I've seen, it's very the way it runs its series, it feels like it doesn't look like it, but to me, it feels like it's like trying to control like 4 different like very like potentially unstable horses with a single rein. It's like it's very like unstable in what it's sort of trying to do, but it's like barely managed to hold it together. Because if you think about it, the idea, I mean, the slice of life thing is like there, right? And then the girls like they're also including in some sort of like drama with some thicker themes, like puberty, spending time, like what do you want to spend time on? Is it like just doing regular like boring office lady stuff, or what is blah blah blah? And then they add in the other drama, right? But then in addition to that, they're trying to how do you say it? Trying to make this. They legitimately try to make the Antarctica theme, like going to Antarctica and doing stuff in Antarctica, more coherent. You know what I mean? They're not just like, yeah, we got flown to fucking Antarctica. Like, they're not like that, right? They actually tried to like explain it, right? So
yeah, and it's not just a trip either. It's like they're going there for essentially to be on an expedition.
right, exactly.
Like they're not just visiting, so
yeah,
they're going to be involved in a lot more than just seeing the sights and then leaving.
Yeah.
So has anyone died of like frostbite yet?
Yeah,
Has this turned into
Yeah,
a
just the
survival
main character's mom.
horror?
This is a survival horror, right?
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it's a Madhouse series. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they'll pull
bust through the ice and.
Also, to be fair, it's not that unrealistic for people to go to Antarctica. Like, there are a lot of people that go to like, tourism stuff. Like,
Why would you go there for tourism? The sun don't shine for like
yeah, I mean that's
months at a time.
apparently one of the reasons. Yeah, but it's like it's actually one of the most popular tourist spots in the world.
Really?
So it's not.
Why not
yeah,
Japan? Oh wait, no,
Yeah,
they
why
already
not
live there.
But yeah, so it's not that uncommon, but it's like it's still not like you're not just like fucking let's go to Antarctica like and then boom, like it's not like that, right?
You guys want to go to Antarctica?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Right after
All
this
right.
podcast. Yeah, but
we'll walk on over, man.
yeah,
Grab a bite to eat.
yeah. See you in 10 minutes. But yeah, the thing I wanted to really drive home in my explanation of what they're trying to balance is that in every episode there seems to be this surreal balance between this banter, the slice of life banter, explaining what the stuff, their reactions to Antarctica, having the drama, but also switching back between these sort of almost surreal in a sense, right? Surreal aspect of them actually being able to go to Antarctica, right? So it's like even if you planned it out all right, like usually when you're going on your first sort of like road trip, like when you're traveling with friends and you're not just like going downtown, but legit when you're like traveling across the states, when you're like going to a specific place just with your friends and stuff like that, it feels relatively surreal, right? Like in a sense because you're just like it's just you, your buddies, and then fuck, where am I? Like that sort of thing, right? So it sort of tries to balance that surreal aspect too, or surreal perspective too, and that's what makes me very interested in this series more than just oh, we're going to Antarctica, or oh, it's just a slice of life kind of, because they try to mix that in also.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think a really cool standout part of it is also the that sort of episode by episode drama that they tackle and like a different part that they sort of cover each time. Like, just to give like one example, one episode essentially is kind of hinted at like happenings going on throughout each like the beginning episodes, but not apparently, eventually it comes to sort of a boiling point with a character that is friends with the sort of like main character, quote unquote, the short-haired girl.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like conflict between there because it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you handle this fifth character now who in pretty much most shows would just be a part of the main cast?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's the main character's best friend, but she's getting left behind. So how, like, what aspects of that, like, what sort of like drama would result from that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think having that and also like built up over multiple episodes in like small bits was really cool. And there's certain themes and stuff like that that I think are nice. And yeah, I think the highlight of that for me though is that it's not completely sort of unrealistic.
Yeah, they mix it in well, which is nice. They like they fall back between the whole like, oh man, we're actually going to Antarctica, and then they kind of cut back to like what are we talking about again, kind of thing. They do that quite well. I'm not entirely sure how to explain it, like how exactly they do it. I need probably a little bit more time to kind of like think through it and like analyze it. But it's like they actually managed, which is really good.
Yeah. And I think that pretty much covers it for me for the overall characters and story. I guess the audio visuals are pretty good. I don't think they're like, anything miraculous, but I think they're pretty solid. I like the style of it. And I think there are certain scenes that have a lot of motion that are really nice. Particularly, there's a scene where the characters are running through, I forget what city, but there's some pretty good stuff there, and a lot of background changes and shit.
I don't know. Are they doing Overlord 2 this season? Madhouse?
Yes.
I know that's out this season. I don't know. Madhouse.
Yeah,
are they the ones that do that?
Yeah. So they're probably splitting the budget between those two, and maybe something else too.
That's a question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
This series, audio visual wise, can you not do that? Thanks. This series, audio visual wise, do you think it's because they're doing like 3 things this season, right? Because they're doing Card Capture Sakura as well.
Oh yeah,
do you think do you think this is Madhouse kind of just picking a fairly simple to animate show in order to kind of fill out what they're doing this season, or do you think they're actually like really trying?
That's a good question. I mean, the issue is they're not like adding anything extra to Overlord 2. It's pretty much again a straight add up, and the audio visuals aren't any better than season 1 was, and they have like more CG involved with like the armies and everything, and they're like more army scenes, right? So a lot of them is pretty much just like CG stuff. But that is a good question. I think it is a project, but they're not like prioritizing it necessarily over Overlord, is what I'm gonna say.
Right.
I mean,
So
Cardcaptor
the-
Sakura looks pretty good too, but I mean,
Yeah, because I was just thinking, from what I've seen of this, Cardcaptor Sakura looks like it has a bit more effort put into it, and I was wondering if which of the three they're doing this season is kind of like
Cardcaptor Sakura probably
big
got
one.
a lot more money from general, just
more
being on the
likely.
series too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I was just curious as to why.
Yeah,
Because
It's
all I've
probably-
seen from this is PVs, so I wasn't too sure general like consistency of the visuals. So
yeah. It's
I would say they're definitely consistent for sure. They're just not until there's like more standout scenes where it would call for like higher budget. It's a little bit more noticeable. Like I had said with that scene where they're running through a city, like there's a lot of background changes. There's a lot of motion in the characters, and it doesn't look like fucked up or anything.
Mhm.
So I think as far as that goes, it's like they're doing a solid job, but I don't think that, judging by what I'm seeing, I don't think that this is like, they're taking money away from anything else that they're doing this season then.
Yeah. Anyways, any last words, Dark, on Sora Yori mo Tooi Basho?
It's pretty good. A character cries every episode until episode 5 or 6.
That's how you know it's quality.
Yeah, it's 5 out of 5 cries.
Yeah. Jesus. Anyways, I feel the same. I'm pretty interested. I think this is probably one of the more hidden gems of the season, just in terms of how it expands up, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, with that said, we will now turn to Toast, covering Killing Bites.
you know how in Metal Gear games, the random soldiers that you fault in have weird names?
Yeah.
Like it's a
Yes.
verb and then an animal? Well,
Or an adjective.
yeah. I went to a Metal Gear Solid name generator for Peace Walker, and I got the name Brutal Cobra. So that's the name of the character I'm using in Metal Gear Survive.
what does it have to do with Killing Bites?
Actually, you know what? We could not talk about Killing Bites, and we could talk about this a little bit more.
So when I watched Killing Bites, I was
God
like,
damn it.
all of them are called brutes. So you have the main character is the brute Rattel, which is a honey badger. So when I was watching this, I was like, huh, that sounds just like my character name. And also because there's a brute cobra in Killing Bites. It's a cobra. Get it?
Okay.
So,
Dude, thanks for
Toast,
telling me. I
what
wouldn't
is-
have otherwise.
What is Killing Bites, Toast?
You got it's so Komodo season. So Komodo
Oh.
Friends season 2 is shape
Alright.
looks quite different than the
Can
usual.
I explain it? Toast. Let me explain it.
You guys like Zaibatsus, right? Shoutouts to the Zaibatsu podcast. You know
Toast,
what
let me just
Zaibatsus
stop.
are, right?
Can I just-
Zaibatsus are like those underground merchants that have
What's
existed
actually
in
going on
Japan
right now?
since ancient times. But then they're all like, we gotta disband. But then the Zaibatsus are like, no.
Oh,
It's
okay.
And that's Killing Bites.
Killing Bites is about the underground ring of Zaibatsu stuff where they fight, where they use fighters for hire as their representatives to fight over who controls the Japanese economy. So it's kind of like Kengan Asura in a way, or
Is that how the economy works? You just control it?
you got to pick your representative, and if you win, then it's like, all right, you can do this, and they're like, okay.
If you win, you get a
That's-
USB drive
that's
that
a
says
worthless.
autonomy.
That's quite the worthless position to have. Control of the economy.
What if Trump was a Zaibatsu, and he picked his representative fighter against Hillary, and that's the reason why Hillary lost?
Who would Trump's representative be?
I don't know, himself.
What kind of animal would they be?
Himself.
Yeah, but in this one, they genetically modified humans with animal traits to make the best fighters, and that's what Killing Bites is about.
Yeah,
It's about
so
genetically modifying humans with animal traits so you can get the best fighter and win the tournament, and you get to control all of Japan's economy with you win.
So why don't you just genetically modify a human with the most dangerous animal, a human?
wow, that's deep. That's funny.
Humans don't have claws and fangs or fur, but I like that you brought
Yeah,
that
but they
up
have
because
beaks.
a Ratel is a honey badger, and on the Guinness World Records, which it said it is the most ferocious animal and won't back down. So
Why is he such a bitch though?
this newcomer, the newcomer corporation that's interfering with the killing bites, they made a honey badger, so they're all like, all right, we made this honey badger. It's gonna be the strongest brute Ratel.
What the fuck's
And then they're gonna be like,
I don't know, dude.
we're gonna beat you in this tournament style, and we're gonna
Alright,
become
can I
the best
explain
Zaibatsu.
this?
No, I'm still explaining. But then
Stop giving
Are you though?
and the honey badger joins one of the weaker Zaibatsus, so they
Okay,
can enter
stop giving
the
me
tournament.
line by line.
And that's what's happening right now. They're
Please.
fighting. You guys watch that one movie? You guys like Fortnite.
What the fuck? Oh my god!
You know how
I'm
with
so
Fortnite
confused right now.
or with PUBG, you're on this island,
Oh
and then you
my
fight to the death.
god, I'm so confused right now.
so there was only one left. It's kind of like that. They dropped them off on this island like a battle royale style, and then they have their
god.
they have their animals move around in spaces as determined by roll of the die. And when you meet up with someone from another Zaibatsu, you fight. And that's
So you're
how the
telling
tournament's
me
going.
this is a generic tournament-style shonen series with animal people?
Yes, and it has fan service for some fucking stupid reason
You
in the
know,
form of like
they use the word Juni, which is a Therian trope, which is like what people transforming into animals, like Bloody Roar
Yes.
or werewolf
it
style.
doesn't matter.
You want else has the word Juni?
Oh
Judy
my
Tyson.
god.
God. Alright, so the
So
idea
it's like
is that
it's like a better Juni Tyson because you don't have to slog through Inicio Isin's weird character monologues and
This was
Whatnot.
such a big mistake.
oh my god.
all you gotta do is focus on the honey badger killing people.
So bad.
Or not people, animals.
Oh my god. Alright, so
Because the first episode, she
Oh,
was
shut up!
she was
Shut up!
Stop,
Shut
please.
up.
in the first episode. She went up against the lion, which is like the king of
my
animals, and she only had a 99 to 1% chance of winning, but she won. So now she knocked the lion out of the tournament.
Can you at least fucking say anything about the actual main character?
She's fine. She's voiced.
She? It's not she!
She's
That's
voiced by
not the main
Sora
character.
Amamiya, who voices Aqua in Konosuba. So when I hear her talking in her deep voice, all I hear is a pissed off Aqua, and it's kind of funny. But she's not even the best character. The best character is the cheetah girl. Oh, I forgot to change the picture. The best girl is a cheetah girl who's voiced by Uchida Maya. So she's pretty good.
What's happening? No.
But did you know?
This is like in everything. It's like like those YouTube like abridged anime series. It's like if everything in it went wrong. Like this. Is what I'm
But did
listening
you know
to
that the cheetah has an older brother who is a tiger, and Tiger was the previous winner of this Killing Bites tournament. But since Leo got knocked out, and Leo was Tiger's
Alright,
greatest
we need to
rival,
actually stop.
it's
We need
all
to
up to
actually-
Honey Badger to win.
Alright. So the general idea is just that it's just like a Hunger Game kind of thing. Like, or it's like not a
It's
Hunger
like
Game, sorry.
PUBG, Fortnite. Don't lie. What's on there?
It's like a gladiator thing. It's they need to work. The people need to work their way up to get whatever. Again, as Toast said, Juni Tyson kind of. But
There's 4 teams of 3, and the Honey Badger is up with the hippo dude, and The rabbit girl.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more extended than just Junior Taisen is, because Junior Taisen really only has like sort of one round, like everybody kind of kill each other, and this
Like
thing, like
Bloody
killing
Roar.
bites. Yeah, killing bites is a little bit more extended, so they'll like go through like multiple stages, obviously. The only real people of importance are obviously A, the villains, B, the male protagonist, who is like
He's
pretty
not
much
important at all. Like,
no. The idea is he sets up this like beta male contrast between himself and then the sort of like sadist, the main
yeah, but
hero.
he's not very interesting. You could cut him out of
No,
the story.
he's not-
That
not-
doesn't
That's
mean
the
anything,
entire
Toast.
point of the character. He's
Yeah.
supposed to not be interesting.
Is it because he's a human? What if they turn him into a Junie? Like in Junie Tyson, what animal would
Wow.
he be?
I don't
Human.
I
know.
thought he was a honey badger.
No, that's...
No, the girl. I'm trying to explain.
Oh, let me
explain.
change the
honey
picture.
badger.
Let me fucking explain to us, like, seriously. So the main heroine, just like many of the other like gladiators, quote unquote, in this fight that's set up by
I like
the
this
sort of
picture.
big bad company that Toast explained, Zaibatsu, it have been modified, genetically modified to have sort of like animal powers. It's sort of like a werewolf kind of thing, more than anything else, where they
That's
kind
what
of
Junie
grow.
stands for. Therianthrope.
Yeah. So they grow, animal stuff sort of more or less on demand, or obviously when they're like emotional urges, blah blah blah, all that crap, right? The usual stuff you see in fantasy. But the main heroine is supposed to be sort of the honey badger, and why they chose the honey badger is because they're the most fearless animal, blah blah blah. They're just fucking wild and shit like that. So she has that attribute, and then she turns into like a fearless, ferocious animal, and then she fights as sort of that therianthrope against other genetically modified human beings, animals, and most of them are also girls, for obvious reasons not noted. And then so this main heroine, who is a honey badger sort of hybrid and has a sadist trait, sort of gets lumped in with this beta male Nippongonese dude who kind of came in along for the ride. Like he's not like super into like whatever this game is. He's just like, oh shit, I got rolled up in it. And then he gets
Speaking of coming along
Why-
for the ride,
Why is he there in the first place?
it happened
He, like,
because
he got-
in the
he was
first
like involved in the fight. Like he was like wandering around, and then he got like kind of involved.
No,
in the fight. That's sort of how it
don't.
worked.
That's not what happened. What happened is in the first episode, they picked him and his gang of rapists. He's a driver of a van. They kidnapped the girl off the streets and they were about to rape her, but he was a driver, and he's like, "Why did I get caught up in this?" But it turns out the girl they were trying to rape was actually the honey badger. So the honey badger killed all of them except for him, and they brought him to the Zaibatsu. And then they're like, okay, if you don't want to die, you're gonna have to be the sponsor for our honey badger in the tournament against the lion. And then they won. So now so the dude who made the honey badger gave him some money so she could fight in the killing bites. So he's like their he's the representative for the honey badger.
Yeah.
So
I
he
mean,
doesn't actually fight.
Hell
Yeah,
no.
he doesn't actually fight. He's essentially the
He's a
whole like
sponsor.
sponsor thing. Like, yeah, he's a sponsor. So Toast does explain it correctly. He is a sponsor. He got pulled in because he was sort of involved in a crime that happened with Fran in the in media res story. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter. The idea is that the plot made a contract so that he gets pulled into this whole like story of the girl fighting as the gladiator. Does that make sense? Like the beginning story is mainly just to be like, hey, you're fucking stuck with this girl. Deal with it. You know what I mean? It's sort of that sort of idea. And then he kind of goes along for the ride. He gets beat over the head by the main heroine because he's a beta male. And then that's sort of the whole like fetish. And that's pretty much the major reason as to why he's a beta male, because he gets popped over the head by the sadist girl. And then that's the fetish. And then the rest of
that
it
only happens like once, and after that, nothing. He's kind of out of the story. He's just sitting there in the big room with the playboards surrounded by the other Zaibatsus, and he's just watching the fight.
Yeah, so in the manga, there are like later on there are like small parts where it's like they give a little bit more of the fan service, but a lot of it is more or less them just kind of duking it out and doing dumb stuff, and then kind of going back to fan service, and then sort of alternating back and forth between that. But
Shout out to episode 1 where you saw the porcupine girl's nips, and that's it. A shout out to episode 7 where the cheetah and the honey badger are under some aphrodisiacs, so they're doing stuff for like all of the episode, and everyone's watching it. And that's it.
But yeah.
Wow, sounds great.
But yeah, again, the manga original, sorry, the anime adaptation is more or less a pretty straight out of the manga original from what I've seen. And again, the general story is just that they're just kind of duking it out. There's a lot of sort of edgy, hacking, slashing, fan service. Sadist fetishes.
The Cobra guy is a rapist because he has neurotoxins, and so he likes playing with girls with his tentacle tail and his Cobra cannons, which are uncensored, but I believe they were his penis. Yeah, 2 of them. Do cobras have penises? I don't know.
But either way, it's not really that much.
It's pretty standard. It's actually they've got attack names like Slash and Cobra Cannon and Civet Raft.
But yeah, it's not. I don't know if I'd call it standard. It's kind of there. I don't know. It's not really worth doing. A lot of the sort of value it tries to pull out of whatever initial package it has. Mainly, they try to get it from the fact that they have, again, the sadist girl and then the Veda male, and then also have the hacking and slashing. But beyond that, they don't really get that much value.
You won't find any interesting character developments or whatnot. And this is purely an action series, and
a lot of it's hacking and slashing. Yeah. But yeah, any last words, Toast?
You guys like Bloody Roar, that one fighting game? Kind of like that.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
It's not the worst thing that I've watched. It's definitely not the best thing. It's tolerable if you like action and half-naked cheetah girls. She's fighting. She nearly got raped by the snake guy. That was not interesting to watch.
Anyways, with that, we will be wrapping up Killing Bites and moving on to our last series to cover, and this is probably going to be the biggest one of them all. Darling in the Frankxx. Arrived near.
Me, huh? Gotta be me.
Who is your darling amongst us, Near? Or are you the Frankxx? I don't know.
Sure.
Yes.
I think we're all gonna have to fight over you, Toast, after that smooth talking. To be honest.
This is just before Near does cover it. It is a collaboration between A1 Pictures and Trigger, two quite big studios by now.
Did you know the guy who wrote To Love Ru and Black Cat? He's also doing a manga adaptation of this. So that's like another collab.
Yeah. So the artist Yabuki Kentaro Yabuki is doing a collaboration. He's drawing the art. I'm not sure if he's writing stuff for the. Yeah. So he's drawing at least for the manga. I don't know whether it's adaptation or spin-off of Darling in the Frankxx.
It looks like an adaptation.
The director, Nishigori Yatsushi, he helped do, storyboard for Evangelion, mainly helping with stuff like, he also was the character designer and the animation director behind Gurren Lagann, did Idolmaster stuff. That's mostly his claim to fame in terms of like main directorship. But anyways,
yeah. So in essence, this is it's pretty much just a passion project between old Gainax people, and it just so happens those old Gainax people are in A1 Pictures and of course Trigger, because a lot of Gainax people went to Trigger when stuff went down. But this is a mecha series, and it's pretty big. I don't really know where to start with this, honestly.
Do you want to give like a general idea of, or to give a very quick synopsis of like specifically what the anime is or like is going through right now in terms of plot, and then maybe you want to say like what you think the anime is trying to cover.
Well, what the anime is trying to cover is quite the subject.
Well, that's going to be the.
So, Darling the Frankxx, like I said, is a mech series. And like most mech series, all the pilots are teenagers, and the general idea behind all the characters is that they're raised from birth, and they're pretty much told from the start that their entire purpose in life is to pilot the mech, right?
Right.
And
Or is it pilot the mech or pilot the women? I don't know.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So the series kind of starts off with the main character basically in the position of not being able to pilot a robot. Which
you get the joke? It's
No.
like he's a beta male and he's impotent, just like me.
All right.
All right.
Keep going.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
So he can't pilot a mech, and some stuff goes down, and we're introduced to the, I guess, deuteragonist, I suppose, which is the main female lead, which is a pink-haired girl with horns, and she's titled the, what was it, partner killer?
Yeah, partner killer.
And
Parasite killer or some
yeah.
shit like that.
Is she some sort of succubus that she sucks the life out of her partner once they're done?
The rumor is you can't pilot with her more than 3 times or you die.
Okay.
Where the series is now, we've the main character has piloted with her 3 times and not died. So that's his, I guess, special thing. But I'll probably cover that later. So some stuff happens and we're introduced to the main female lead, and it's basically revealed that the main character can pretty much only pilot with her. And the mechs are piloted with, duos, male and female.
It's like Godanar, except not as slightly better.
Yeah. So the main synopsis is basically, or the main idea for the most part that we've gotten is sort of the main character kind of getting over the idea of sort of being, I guess, scared to pilot with this girl since she's supposed to be the partner killer.
The initial theme, at least to me, was this idea of the value of freedom and like sort of initially defining freedom, where it's like, would you rather go out in a blaze of glory, or would you inevitably just kind of sink and decay and die? Thing, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, it was sort of overcoming the fear of piloting and the fear of not being able to pilot at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. This is a really hard series to cover, kind of with just plot synopsis, because
Well, again, I'll just say like my overall values first, and then kind of like evolve into it. Most people again know me here and out there as sort of the slice of life biased person, but I personally found this series to be quite interesting and possibly differentiating from or differing from a lot of people who are currently shitting on the series, I guess. But it's in my opinion, there are several ways it could, or not several ways. There are like 2 to 4 different ways it could go. But the general idea is that it's setting up the whole initial sort of track of, as you said, sort of, should I go out in this blaze of glory? Should I, fight this inevitability with all my passion, even just to enjoy every last moment of life I have, versus, not being able to do anything, just watching everything kind of crumble, just to keep myself safe / stability. So like a stable sort of contentment, or what I imagine to be contentment, versus a blaze of glory, quote unquote true happiness. So which one does he select? That's right. And we all kind of know that that'll probably lead into the whole like true happiness route, and that whatever happens afterwards in terms of miracles happens, right? And then that contrasts with sort of the how shall we say, the theme of I want to say the weaker theme of relationships in the story, where there's sort of like, oh, these people are doing these stuff. So it's like, if she's a quote unquote bad person, if she's doing these bad things, even though maybe it's not all her fault and stuff like that, how would you treat this? So that whole like relationship thing, which I believe, in my opinion, is a weaker plot, it's a weaker sub theme than the whole like determination thing, right?
Weaker in what sense? Like it doesn't have as much of a spotlight, or it's not as effective?
No, I don't mean it's not effective. They're not giving it as much priority as sort of like emphasizing the main character's idea of, like, what do I want to do? Blah, 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 that sort of thing, right? So in my view, I think the main heroine is less of a deuteragonist and more of a main heroine character that is used a little bit more as a, I don't want to say prop, but it's, the MC in my opinion, gets more of the spotlight than the heroine by a longer shot. Or rather, the reason why even the heroine gets sort of spotlight at all is to show this contrast, or to show this option that the main character has. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you've watched episode 6, right?
Yeah.
The latest episode. Where they've kind of overcome the initial like Blaze of Glory subplot.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from now. Because
so episode 5 and 6 actually gave me a new idea, but we can cover that in a bit. But go on.
Yeah. Because at the end of episode 6, they do tease I guess another team. I guess of pilots, and they say some sort of what was it? I forget what the code name he said was, but I remember seeing some theory where it's like the code name he says is like 016 backwards or something, which is the main character's code name. Mm-hmm. But the end of episode 6 doesn't really leave much to go on as to where this is going to go. Mm-hmm. It's mostly just speculation, but it'll be interesting to see. It's So this is just a really like. This series is really I don't want to say cluttered, but it's very dense, I guess, with a lot of stuff going on in every episode, and it doesn't really I guess tell you exactly what's going on, because there's a lot of things going on with a lot of characters, and it's not, it can't give spotlight to all of them.
So they're trying to do a lot of stuff at the same time, for sure. And it's so it's very weird. It's like I think I do. This is one of the rare series where it's not bad. It's not like bad. I don't want to say bad enough because it didn't start up bad or that, but it's not bad. So it's like I have to sort of see where it's going from here to kind of be able to evaluate it fully on whether it's on the good side or bad side or whatever, right? But maybe dark. Yeah.
How does this compare to Evangelion?
God damn it, Toast! We'll take that topic afterwards. But
so is this 016 guy supposed to be weak and wimpy like Shinji, and then the demon girl with the horns, she's supposed to be like Rei? Is this some sort of allegory towards Jesus stuff?
Allegory towards Jesus?
No, there is no biblical references in this like Evangelion.
Yeah. Jesus had red horns.
There are many Evangelion references in this show, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah. So maybe Dark can give us a new perspective on this. But what happened was a lot of episodes 1 through 4 was a lot, or even most of 5 was just like this again, the development, the whole like Blaze of Glory thing kind of going on, the character development setting up more or less predictably, I think, and then kind of just going into it, and then episodes 5 and 6 kind of turned into a very sort of I want to say happy mecha series. So a sort of a lingering thought in the back of my mind sort of started up after I finished 6, which was even so there are 2 additional ideas, which is one is maybe we're all overthinking this, and they kind of threw in some like determination, some blah blah blah, the standard stuff, and then they wanted to make it sort of a happy mecha series. While having these obnoxious symbolism stuff, right? But they're not really going to work with it. They just kind of have these sorts of things thrown out there because they think they're being creative or whatever. And then my second additional theory will be they started out with these sort of themes. They're like, oh, we'll have this like sexual symbolism going on linked with the relationships. They have the determination thing going on. They'll maybe extend it later on, maybe intertwine the 2 together a little bit stronger. But then if it becomes a bit too fragile, if it becomes too sort of untenable, right, then they'll maybe just kind of switch back to the happy mecha stuff. You know what I mean? Is what kind of occurred to me as I was watching episodes 5.
What episode was the NTR episode where the chick's like?
It was episode 3, and it was 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Not NTR.
That's how long it takes.
It was not.
If you know what I'm saying.
Anyways, Dark, you want to?
Now, let me ask something. Have you guys watched Godanar? Godanar?
No.
No.
I don't even know what that is.
No.
Sounds familiar.
It's the one where the dude saved this one chick when she was a kid, and then like 10 years later or 5 years later they get married, and then there's the pink robot.
This. Yeah, I've seen.
How is it compared to that, Nier?
Well, Godana is honestly not very good, so I'd say this is better. I don't know if it's too comparable.
But you know how they have to gatai the robots so they could become Godanar. Is it kind of like that piloting wise, and how like his previous co-pilot died, and now there's the new one that he marries, but then the previous one comes back. Do you think there's going to be?
What I'm kind of seeing from this, and this actually does go into the heart of a lot of these community reactions. Sorry, Dark, I should have thrown it to you asking about the complexity thing, and I will in a bit. But the whole like sexual thing is kind of, there are like 2 sides to, or there are 2 major points I think have to be cleared out. Which is one is like, it's a bit on the, like everything aside.
A bit?
It's a bit on it. Like let's be honest with ourselves. Like they kind of took this to the point where you're just thinking like, are they just kind of running with it? Are they gonna make something of it? What the fuck's going on?
I mean, it's just to hammer home that the fact that the 2 pilots have to be both in sync and trusting, and that's an act where both the partners have to be in sync and trusting of each other in order for it to work.
I mean that's definitely how part of it what it is on the basic level, I think. But they also
it's a basic thing. I don't think they're really going to go with it. I think most of it is to just kind of honestly get sort of a rise, and then
rise out of,
and then like they use that to essentially like half explain the reasoning for like the
relationships happening.
Yeah, both the relationships and like the way the mechs work, right? Like how the female pilot essentially syncs up with the mech itself, and then the male pilots the mech, right?
Yeah. I just feel like sometimes in trying to kind of hammer that home, they kind of push it a little bit too much. But on the other hand, I do very much agree with Nier, at least in the spirit of the core of what he's saying, which is a lot of this like sexual theme, at least for now. I don't again know how it's going to develop, at least to me, in that a lot of these sort of like how these structures are set up, the whole like stamen versus pistol thing, the whole like have one boy, one girl, stuff like that. A lot of these are kind of at the end of the day sort of plot devices used to set up either the relationship between the MC and the other girls, or set up whatever sort of drama-ish, or kind of, as Nier said, set up this whole like we need to trust each other to run this mech. We can't be out of sync, and therefore give more development time to either background characters, or create this like sort of climax moment where they truly believe in each other and unlock Super Saiyan 2 or something like that, right? That's the whole like idea of the sexual themes, and I do definitely agree with that. But yeah, sometimes it is a little bit out there, but definitely not.
Symbolism isn't always subtle,
Yeah.
Sometimes it hits like a sledgehammer. Sometimes,
Most of the time with Trigger.
Yeah.
That's the case.
It's. I mean, it doesn't like decrease its value, in my opinion, because like, the only like really, like, just because symbolism isn't subtle doesn't mean it's bad symbolism, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, oh well, I noticed this the first time through, it's probably bad then. It's like, no, it's just the director or the author really, really wanted you to notice it. It's
I think rather than the scale of it, maybe the repetition might have been a little bit much, and then that people also caught up on that a little bit more, because obviously if you notice the first time, you don't necessarily need to be hit over the head with it 4 more times. But
well, I mean, it's also a vehicle for fan service, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Or like, no, it doesn't work. Never mind. I can't make it.
Yeah, but it definitely the sexual part of it is, I don't think, anywhere sort of near I think what a lot of people in the anime community are kind of projecting it to be. I think definitely not anywhere.
I don't know.
It's very different. It's very different from what I think people are thinking.
Like, there's definitely going to be a message there in the end. I feel there's going to be some sort of basic like, in the end we were the Frankxx all along, or some stupid shit, right? Because Trigger always does that. But I don't think it's going to be like the main message of the show, right? Because like there's all these videos out that are like, is Frankxx about like first time relationships and shit? And it's like, well, I mean maybe, but I don't think that's the main point. I don't think that's driving. I don't think that's the driving like focus of the show. Like if it is, pretty roundabout about it, but I don't know. It's maybe a message. It's maybe a symbolism, but
it's a small part of it.
Yeah, it's not the main point.
But yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to really say over the whole like sexual themes thing. Of that, it's not. It's more of a.
I got something to say.
Toast, stop.
What's going on in the background, Toast?
Huh?
What's going on in the background, Toast? Is there like some
Well,
sort
the other
of, like...
part was Nier. And now Toast is fucking drilling.
Oh no, that's not me.
This isn't Garin, Toast, okay? This is Garin meets Kill a Kill.
That's the neighbors. Don't worry about
the next one.
Anyway.
But yeah, just one more sort of major topic before we go on. Sort of heading back to the idea of the complexity, sort of throwing a dart for asking sort of new perspective on this. Do you think? I mean, what do you think about the complexity levels of this? Are we kind of too deep in the rabbit hole? Is this, in your opinion, is this supposed to be kind of ending up to be a more sort of just a general like happy manga or happy mecha, like yeah, we did it, we just need to trust each other kind of thing, or what's going on?
I think it's a love comedy.
Oh, nice.
You got your love triangles here, your fake NTR here. It'll be like, It'll be
Fake
like
it.
Fake NTR. Like it's like a handshake, like psych, like handshake, but it's like NTR.
it'll be like the one where like at the last second, the dude comes in. He's all like, "No, wait, don't pilot with him. I really wanted to pilot with you this whole time." And she's all like, "I've been waiting for you to say those words." And then they like do their pilot thing, and then they unlock the Super Frankxx, Frankfurter.
That already hasn't happened.
Frankfurter.
Stop.
Yeah, and then he gets space cancer.
Yeah, that's how it works, right? But anyways, Dark, you could answer the question again. What do you think about sort of the general complexity level?
I mean, I don't think like it's hard to say because it depends on how they apply it. Like, I don't think the complex part is obviously not like the complex part isn't how they're showing it or how they're like its lack of subtlety. Like there's not like a ton of complexity there, but it's what they're going to use that as a vehicle for.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're going to really.
Yeah,
I've only seen 3.5, so it's hard to say. I don't hate the series. I think I like it enough. I meme about it because mostly when like I bring up the lack of complexity and shit is mainly.
What do you mean by lack of complexity?
Well, not lack of complexity. The lack of subtlety is how people mistake that for lack of complexity.
Like I said earlier, symbolism can be as subtle as a sledgehammer. That doesn't make it less valuable or less complex. Like there's still a message there.
Yeah, and I mean we saw this sort of thing with Kill la Kill anyway, where it's like it starts out the way it does, where it's like really in your face, and then over time it's like it slightly calms down, but it's still like really evident, and you adjust to it too. So I think over time people fucking get over it. And if they don't, then they're probably gonna miss out on something that'll at least be okay. I think, yeah, so I think as far as that goes, like it's kind of all about how they apply it and what they use it for, and I hope it turns out all right.
Yeah,
because I like the designs, I like pretty much everything about it, save for like I'm not crazy over the protagonist, but if he grows as a character, then more power to them.
You know who else started out sucky but became a cool protagonist? Shimon from Gurren Lagann. I want to see some Shimon levels of Gar from him.
I'm not entirely sure about the dresses that the mechas have, but that's just like a small thing.
Thing I would... Spire, did you know?
Mean the jet skirts?
Yeah, the jet skirts.
Yeah.
Those things are awesome, dude.
How else are they going to balance the weight of the mech?
Skirts have a purpose, and Gundams in mecha design. Spire, for example, the RX-79G ground Gundam has armored skirts which hold his ammo in it. So you don't know what you're talking about.
I apologize, friends.
Everything in mecha anime, no matter how dumb it looks, has a purpose. You see Genetic Gal Geiger's floating hair? Those are all energy batteries, man.
Yeah.
You can't write it off like that.
Okay. All right. So, one last thing I would like to point out is also Haruka Tomatsu, obviously a very capable voice actor, doing a great job as usual with the Oni girl, 002, I believe her name is, right?
Yep.
Is it 002 or just 02?
It's 002, but everyone calls her 02 because she has 2 zeros and I guess 2.
Yeah, just to shorten it a tiny bit for some reason. But anyways, yeah, Haruka Tomatsu is doing a very good job on that as per usual. Definitely very flexible. I just want to point that out. But anyways,
I was actually just going to say like one last thing for me because I just remembered it now was it's not a huge thing, but as far as world building goes, I think literally my only problem with the sort of like symbolism in it was the screenshot I had taken where other robots, like worker robots, are designed around Frankxx controls, even though it's one pilot. And I was like, man, that... Like, look, I get the mech thing, and this is like kind of a nitpick because I'm sure we won't see much of it later, and it doesn't detract from the show. But I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. The worker robot comes before the combat robot.
Those are training robots, you know.
Are they really?
Yeah, they said that. Those are training robots.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like a fucking power loader.
No, those are training robots.
You know, Dark, back when man was first came out of primordial sea, we didn't walk on 2 legs. We walked on 4 legs. So that's why the Frankxx piloting system is like that. Maybe it's more.
Shit, you're right.
Maybe it's more streamlined for the human spine instead of sitting. How would you know? Are you a human biologist?
All right. Well, with that, on that note, I think we should wrap it up again. If you do, I mean, I don't know if I should even recommend this because it's like
I'll recommend it to you guys.
No. What I'm saying, Toast, please let me finish a single sentence.
No.
I don't know if I would even recommend this because if you're into anime at all this season, this is probably one of the series you would have seen on every feed. So if you're not watching this, get on it at least. Check it out. Definitely a very interesting series. I'm not sure how it'll play out, but definitely not anything near like bad or anything there. So please do check it out. So yeah, that said, we will finally move to the news, as well as a shout out to Callouts later on. So a little bit of news today. We have, first up, a little bit on various awards and stuff like that. But so Tokyo Anime Award Festival's top prizes. We have in theatrical animation division in this corner of the world, very deserved. Again, I want to see that soon. Television animation division, Kemono Friends. Anime Fan Award, Yori on Ice. Best script / original work, Nasu.
Yeah, I can see
Director.
I can see Nasu winning that.
Sorry, they never said these were actual
I mean,
awards.
have you seen Heaven's Feel? Have you seen Mahotsuka and Uyoru? He's really good at his prose. Is that right? The right
No
word?
comment. Best director Tatsuki. Best animator Takahiro Kishida. Best art / color / visual Nobutaka Yoda. And best sound / performance Kajiura Yuki.
What has Yuki Kajiura done recently other than Heaven's Feel?
I forget. There's probably cool stuff. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, every time like a half big project comes up, they usually do that sort of shit. So
why wouldn't you? Did you or never mind? You guys already know.
What are you talking about, Toast? Okay,
you guys already know that Yuki Kajiura was basically scripted or contracted to make the music for. Oh my God! Why can't I remember the name?
Fuck.
I'm blanking out. Leave me alone.
Okay.
Anyways, there are a whole bunch of other people who won, meritorious service award, for their
Kano
lifelong.
Kyokai.
Okay, sure. Meritorious service award for their lifelong achievements as singers, directors, voice actors, so on and so forth. So that's pretty good. Next list, the American Library Association, or ALA's Young Adult Library Services Association, YALSA, releases 2018 list of great graphic novels for teens this week. So the 17 manga on the list of 115 titles include My Brother's Husband by Tagame Gengoro, Fukumenkei Noise, or Anonymous Noise by Fukuyama Ryoko, Bungo Stray Dogs by Asagiri Kafka and Haruka Sango, The Case Study of Vanitas by Mochizuki Jun, Dreaming Sun by Takano Ichigo, Erased, or I guess missing by some, Sandaike, Flying Witch by Ishizuka Chihiro, The Girl from the Other Side, Suo Orun by Nagabe, Girl's Last Tour by Tsukumizu, Hana and Hina After School by Morinaga Milk, Happiness Shuzo Oshimi, I Hear the Sunspot, Kumi no Yuki, Promised Neverland. This one is coming up a lot recently. Shirai Kayu, Posca Demisu, The Royal Tutor, Higasa Kai, or Kai Higasa, School Life, or Gakugurashi, by Kaiho Norimitsu, Waiting for Spring, by Anna Shin, and the manga adaptation of Your Name by Kai Magoto and by Kotone Ranmaru.
All right.
All right, so congratulations to them. And finally, the 12th Annual Seiyu Awards reveals Merit Award. So the Merit Award. So this is award for the Seiyu who have contributed to many genres, including foreign works over the years. This is like a lifetime achievement thing. Masoko Hiroshi, who did Sazae-san, or who did Maso Fukuta and Sazae-san, Jam Oji-san in Anpan-Man, Geronimo Jr. in Saga Wars 009, Kataoka Tomie, who did stuff like VT and Cowboy Bebop. Another award goes to Kei Tomiyama award for the male performer who broadened the profession of voice acting in every form of media. Cho, who did Brook in One Piece, Osama and Boku wa Osama, and narrator in Dobushi Sentai Soku. Takahashi Kazue award for the female performer who broadened the profession of voice acting in every form of media, goes to Tominaga Mina, who did Katsuo Isono and Sazae-san, Ropana and Dokin-chan in Anpan-Man, and Nao Izumi in Pat Labor. So yeah, congratulations to those.
Now, are these awards specifically for new people, or can
No, these are like lifetime achievement, like broadening profession.
So if you've already got one of these, you can't get another one of these, right?
Yes, they're lifetime achievement awards.
All right,
Yeah. So
I think you can get other lifetime achievement awards. Just obviously, you won't get the same one twice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Usually they're given out to like relatively old, like veterans. So it's not like they can live another lifetime and be like, oh, give me another lifetime award.
Yeah, just give another one from Masako for her work as Goku. It's okay.
Yeah.
What if they did two things that were good?
Yeah.
Yeah, Goku and
and the other Goku.
Goku Black.
Yeah, the different
And Bardock.
Yeah.
And SSGSS Goku.
don't forget Gohan and Goten.
Jesus. Anyways, next piece of news. Japanese art-focused social network service Pixiv announced on Tuesday that it has surpassed 30 million registered users as of February 10th. It's 3,806th day since launching on February 10th, 2007. Users have submitted about 75.5 million works to the platform as of Tuesday. That's pretty cool. Again, further statistics on its user base. Ratio of male to female users is about 58% to 42%, probably skewed here and there. Most of its users, 59%, are in their 20s, while 18% are in their teens, 50% are in their 30s, and 8% are in their 40s. About half of Pixel users are in Japan, while 18% are in China, 6.2% are in Taiwan, 4.9% are in the United States, 4.8% in South Korea, and 13.1% are in other territories. So yeah.
Do you guys have a Pixiv account?
Of course.
I do have a Pixel account, but I don't use it as much as I probably should have.
What about you,
I do
Darth?
too.
Okay.
I have one. I just don't use it.
We're
I
all in the
follow, like,
4.9.
300 different artists.
Yeah. So this one was an interesting thing. I just wanted to point out just because there's this interesting description. So there's an anime coming out called Saredo Sumibito wa Ryu to Otoru, Dances with the Dragons.
I was wrong, by the way. I follow 400 artists.
Yeah.
Is
so
this
the
another
translation-
Chinese one?
I don't think so. So the name is Even So, Sinners Dance with Dragons. Dances with the Dragons, light novel series. And the story revolves around, or this is getting an anime, story revolves around Jushiki, or called spell equations. The equations that govern the quantum constant H of action. H is usually Planck's constant in physics. Change the laws of physics at the low scale, give birth to TNT explosions with poison gas, and cause incredible physical phenomena such as plasma and nuclear fusion. Two Jushiki, fucking Japanese people. We spell the equation as to use Jushiki in battle. Argaius, who deals with bad luck with tact, and the beautiful but cruel sword wielder Higina.
What the heck are these names?
The two bounty hunters are caught up in a battle with dragons in the city of Eridana and in the intrigue of great nations. The publisher, this is the really interesting part.
Oh
The
no.
publisher, Shugakukan, describes the story as, quote unquote, the ultimate work that founded the dark light novel genre that changed the concept of light novels.
Have you seen these names? Jivunya Lorenzo, Morden Orges Gunye, Curasa Optkoga. What's up with these names?
My question is, did it though? Like I haven't really heard of this series influencing anything.
Have you read Berserk? Or no, that's not a light novel.
Stop.
It's not.
I mean, have you read Dungeon Seeker?
Nah.
Have you read Ari Furuta? That's an ultimate work that founded the dark light novel genre.
All right, Toast. But yeah, I just found it a little bit pretentious, is why I pointed out, and I was just like, has anybody even seen this? Like, it's an old series to be sure, but I'm not sure if it had that much influence. But check it out if you think it's that good.
I don't like the names or the character designs. They're weird.
How do you know how much influence it had if you're not Japanese, Spire?
Oh, that's true. I need to be Japanese. Apologies. No, I need to be a Japanese light novel writer.
Yeah. You need to be a Japanese light novel.
I need to be that light novel writer. Like exactly that person who wrote the book. Jesus. This one is actually, the next piece of news is actually very interesting. So, Japanese financial newspaper Nikkei reported on Saturday that the Japanese government is moving to amend the country's copyright law to extend the copyright protection for works such as novels and music from the current 50 years after the author said to 70 years, similar to the United States. So the general idea is that a lot of more sort of lax countries, such as Canada and Australia, usually have things that are like anywhere from 20 to 50 years after death, as opposed to the US that have, moderately strict, 50, 70 years. And then usually the strictest are in the European Union. Usually they have stuff like 100 or 150 years after the author's passing. Usually a lot of these are to like clamp down on stuff like, classical music or other sort of like older like music stuff from leaking out. But now Japan is trying to extend theirs to be more stricter rules too. Continuing in the article, the move would take Japan closer to the provisions of the original Trans-Pacific Partnership or TPP trade agreement, which among many other agreements includes a provision for all signatories to enforce a minimum level of protection for trademark, copyrights, and patents. The 70-year-old copyright protection period is included among these provisions. But but the thing is, because of the recent things going on in the United States and with President Donald Trump signing a memorandum to withdraw the United States from the TPP agreement, the enforcement of this copyright law has been delayed. But so people are kind of getting back on and trying to sign and kind of agree on this, extended copyright thing. But what do you think? What do you think will happen? I mean, with the copyright stuff.
So I have to wait 70 years until Reki Kawahara dies before I can make SAO 2.0. All right.
Yeah. Yes, Toast. That is exactly what they're saying. You have to wait 70 years, and then you're like, man, I could totally use all of Sora Online's creative ideas.
To be fair, haven't a lot of people already seemed to done that?
They're all going to be put
it's not
in
a
jail.
copyright. It's a.
It's an homage.
Yeah, it's an homage.
Yeah, it's an homage. It's what they say in the industry, I believe. But yeah, this probably won't go too. I mean, this won't probably see too much impact until obviously, we're much older. But it's definitely an interesting impact that'll have because of this era right here. So it's like later on, if there's things that people just want to do in general, whether it's use it in education, use it in other places, whatever, then they're going to have to kind of deal with this, right? So it's going to be very interesting. Especially since a lot of people doing the manga and so on, this stuff right now, the animation medium, are young right now. So it'll be, many more years down the road, and then plus 70 years after their death, right? So it's going to be quite a long time.
So you're saying in 200 years, when Mira dies, you have to wait another 70 years for a new chapter?
Yes.
God
for
damn.
Anybody to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take this idea and run with it. Anyways, the last piece of news before we kind of cover people stuff on the sort of Western front, Western Eastern interaction front, a little bit on Crunchyroll, some anime streaming website told Crunchyroll Entertainment news source, The Hollywood Reporter, that has contributed US $100 million in royalties to the Japanese industry. Crunchyroll confirmed with ANN that the milestone was reached late last year. Crunchyroll also noted to The Hollywood Reporter that women make up half of Crunchyroll's user base. I mean, let's take this with a grain of salt. They're probably maybe boosting it up a little bit for obvious reasons not noted, as well as this whole like women make up half of Crunchyroll's user base. Like, let's.
Well, they did vote for Yuri on Ice to be the greatest anime of all time, so.
This is true. But yeah,
They
I
got
think.
Hitalia on there?
You mean Sket Dance?
Shit.
But yeah, I think more people than they imagine are registering under female for reasons not noted. But anyways, hopefully they'll keep this partnership productive in the future is what I want to say without any further comments. Next piece of news, Crunchyroll manga. Crunchyroll announced on Friday that Kodansha manga titles that have ended serialization will be removed from its manga section on February 28th. After this time, the titles will only be available for purchase as ebooks from the Crunchyroll manga store. The affected titles are as follows. A Silent Voice, A Town Where You Live, or
Kimi to Iromachi?
Yeah, Kimi no Iromachi.
I rate it better than Fuka,
That's a low bar.
and a lot better than Suzuka.
Yeah. As the Gods Will, the second series, Capellion, Fort of Apocalypse, Inieshiki, Magatsuki, My Wife is Wakatsuma-san, Mysterious Girlfriend X, Sono Q, Shadow of the Labyrinth, Side P3 and P4s, Mrs. Jellyfish, Unlimited Fafnir, and Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches. So yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
How will I ever get my manga?
Yeah. And finally,
People actually use Crunchyroll for manga.
Yeah.
let's not talk about this.
Listen, people use it to fucking stream, so.
Did you know, Nier, that manga is just the paper version of anime?
Yeah. Anyways.
Never thought of it like that. Shit.
It doesn't even have color.
Unless sometimes it does.
Okay, anyways, let me move on to the last piece. Live action Sword Art Online producer.
Oh boy.
Skydance Television's Sword Art Online live action series writer and executive producer Laeta Kalogridis, who also did Altered Carbon, said in an interview with Collider posted on Tuesday that the series has been sold to Netflix and that Kirito and Asuna will be played by Asian actors. Kalogridis made a similar comment to the Philippine Daily Inquirer in January. I read blah. As part of the agreement of the sale, that Kitty Cat Kirito, yeah, mostly Kitty Cat Asuna. No, it's probably Kirito and Asuna who remain Asian. Kalogridis' full comment to Collider in response to a question about what she would like to see in a live-action English version of Sword Art Online is as follows.
So wait, are they going to speak English or Japanese?
It doesn't fucking matter, dude.
It's probably gonna be Japanese with an English dub. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, let me finish, please. Well, let's get the obvious bit out of the way right away. SAO is an essentially Japanese property in which Kirito and Asuna, who are the two leads, are Japanese. In the television show, Kirito and Asuna will be played by Asian actors. Whether or not that was a question underneath your question, it's not a conversation about whitewashing. When I sold it to Netflix, we were all on the same. They are not interested in whitewashing it, and not interested in whitewashing. And I am not interested in whitewashing. In terms of the secondary characters, because the game is meant to be global, the way it's presented in the anime and the light novels, there are secondary characters that clearly are from other parts of the world, like Clan. To me, it's very obvious when you watch it that you're meant to take that this game spans the globe. But Kirito and Asuna are very clearly located as kids from Japan and Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. That is what we will be doing because that is the story. They are, in my mind anyway, much like Major Motoko Kusanagi in Ghost in the Shell, defined in part by being seminal characters in an Asian piece of art. That is the first and biggest thing.
I'd like to say the fact that the Major was white in the live action Ghost in the Shell was the least of that movie's problems.
Yeah.
I'd like to say shout out to Dragon Ball Evolution. That's what happens when you take it
Sick
too
head
far.
slide.
But I mean,
I don't know why this is even being discussed. Like, who cares?
I do.
I mean,
What if you
the
want
thing-
Climb to be renamed Kevin? Or Kirito to be named Chris?
That has nothing to do with the race of the actors.
but
You ever seen a Japanese man named Chris?
Yeah, Chris, Petey.
Oh, there's
That
that
one-
one.
Chris Chan.
But so what I want to say is that I do heavily agree with Nier and almost generalizing what he said about Ghost in the Shell, where it's like the white person being in Ghost in the Shell was the least of its problems. The issue is that a lot of anime are being kind of sold as these sort of like live action things, right? But they're not good. Like even with stuff like Ghost in the Shell, it's just not good, right? That's the major issue a lot of times. And this at best they're not good, and at worst they end up looking like adult videos, right?
At worst, it's Dragon Ball Evolution. At
So-
best, it's I don't know.
Yeah,
Rurouni
it's-
Kenshin.
But the issue is, since it often just doesn't turn out that good unless it's a very very like series. As Nier said, it doesn't really matter as to whether they're Asian or not. At the end of the day, if it's just bad, then it just sucks. It'll just be like a fucking adult video, and people will be like, "Why is this so stupid?"
I mean,
Especially since Sora Online isn't a series that lends itself quite well to what I would assume to be live action, anyways, right?
Aspire, put it this way: what would happen if Neo Yokio, the main character, wasn't Jaden Smith? What would you do?
It would probably be a lot better,
I mean,
which is not a high bar, but it would still probably be better.
I would pay people money to not have Jaden Smith act out any anime from now on. Like, I don't think you understand.
I'd pay money for Jaden Smith to just not appear ever again in anything.
In the face of the planet, just like hide in the hole.
Hey, he's making those decomposable water bottles, all right?
Is that the one that's
Saving the world.
Is that the one that's like made of?
But how can
Chilled
the water
water or
bottle
something?
be real? Our water isn't real.
Yeah.
Shit, dude. How can water be real if we can't see it?
Yeah.
You're right.
It's completely see-through, dude.
Fucking Jaden Smith. But yeah, I think the bigger problem is the Western people coming to realize that like a lot of these series are just not turning out well in the first place, and that's the conversation that should probably be ironed out. And then you can also have the discussion whether the actor should be Asian or not inside of it. But it probably shouldn't be a priority over having a good series in the first place. And that probably also starts out with not picking stuff like Sword Art Online as a live action series for obvious reasons not noted.
Well, I think you could have, like, I think that gets into a conversation about adaptation, where
That's
you
smart
can't, it's like you obviously, there's going to be a lot of reasons why you should not be doing a live action version of an anime, especially one that's like,
I understand like you have to go where the money is, but it's like you have to know at some point that
It's just a bad idea.
it's just a fucking bad idea. Sure, like if it goes like standard, if it like quote unquote like becomes mediocre standard in a way, and like fucking retard SAO people lap it up, sure you might get some money, but every time you're just like risking so much on it just like flopping. You know what I mean? Like how Ghost of the Shell did.
I
Right?
mean,
Yeah.
you're also basically degrading yourself as a director or an actor for being part of something that, like, at best is going to be mediocre.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
That's
I don't know what kind of director really like wants Sword Art Online live action adaptation on their fucking like IMDb. Like,
yeah. It's
I don't know,
it's
dude.
pretty wonky. Like the only thing you could say about that is like it like broadens your scope in a sense, like the directorial scope. But beyond that, it's like it's still sort of online, guys. So it's like let's be smart about this.
yeah. The only way you could ever, I think, see it working would be if like they had complete creative control and it wasn't even the main characters. Like it wasn't like the only thing it had to do with was the name.
Mhm.
Then I can see like something coming out of it, but
I mean, that's why Edge of Tomorrow was pretty good, because it had very little to do with the original source material. Took it and made it something unique.
Yeah. Anyways, what do I say? Yeah. With that, we'll just move on to quick people news. Two pieces of people news. One is that Calafina, so media news source Oricon News, reported on Wednesday that the 3-member female singing unit Calafina will continue working under the spacecraft-produced talent agency even after the departure of their founder and producer Yuki Kajiura from the same agency. So blah blah, they're gonna do the same, concerts and lives and whatever, blah blah. But Kajiura is obviously departing now.
Goodbye.
So Kajiura noted in a Twitter post early on Wednesday that Calafina's status will end up changing, so she cannot truly say that it will be the same as before. But however, she said that she respects the group members and still wants to cheer them on. So maybe some falling out between the main sort of managers and Yuki Kajiura. Yuki Kajiura obviously may probably want to do something else.
What if Yuki Kajiura want to do something other than Fate and Sao?
It could also be that
Producers.
I could also take a more cynical perspective and be like maybe Kajiura was partly sort of pushed out because of her age, in a sense, right? The whole dumb Japanese medicine thing, but that's probably a smaller part than anything else. But anyways, hopefully wish both Calafina and Yuki Kajiura best of luck for their future endeavors. And the second piece of news, a little bit sadder news, Dragon Ball or Toei Animation confirmed on Tuesday that Hisakawa Aya will voice Dragon Ball character Bulma in the future after Bulma's previous voice actress Tsuruhiromi passed away on November 6th.
That took him a long time.
I've heard that's because they're using all of the previous voice actors' stuff for in the Super.
Right, yeah.
And after that is when they start using the new one. And I've heard the CM, the beer commercial or the cleaning product commercial with her. She's trying hard to emulate the old Bulma feel. But you can definitely tell it's not her. So
yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard. It's definitely gonna be hard.
I give her props for trying.
Yeah, for sure. Toei Animation's announcement notes that Hisakawa will voice Bulma for the foreseeable future of the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole, and not just Dragon Ball Super. Hisakawa voiced Chico in episode 16 of Dragon Ball Z. Her major anime roles include Magical Girl Luko Nanoha's Lindy Harlowan, Sailor Moon's Ami Mizuno, Cardcaptor Sakura's Kerberos, and Megami-sama's Scold. But yeah, again, condolences for Tsuruhiromi, and best of luck to Hisakawa Aya for carrying on the torch. And with that, we are done with the news, and we are on to our shoutouts and callouts. Shoutouts, again, everybody gets one shoutout, one callout. Shoutouts, one thing that you want to praise, 10 out of 10, whatever. It can be any one thing, anime, manga, your cup of water right next to you, the United States, whatever it is. Callout can be anything, 0 out of 10. Fuck this thing. It can be any person, trend, image, whatever it is. I'm gonna start, I guess. My call out is fucking Toast for dragging way too long on that Killing Bites segment. Explain whatever it was that clearly wasn't even Killing Bites half the time.
Yeah, well, I was totally talking about Killing Bites with the Zaibatsu.
Through, 3 different anime synopses. I don't think they were even anime at some point. You were just like, yeah.
That's because they're all similar. Like you got, I could even throw in Grappler Baki in there. You guys
Are you saying that all animes look the same?
Do you know what the definition of a synopsis / summary is, though? The point of it is to make the reader understand. But anyways,
I understood what I said perfectly, so I don't know what you guys are going on about.
Good for you, Toast. That's my call out. My shout out is actually to something that Nier and Dark and I were actually discussing 1 or 2 days ago, which is shout outs to sort of this doujin or independent like underground-ish like YouTube. So there have been a lot of like Japanese like YouTubers, and not just like them doing like let's play blah blah blah, but a lot of them are making these sort of like drama CDs, like audio CD kind of things, right? Situation like anime situation kind of stuff. So they're doing they're probably a lot of them are probably like voice actors, voice actresses, right? Trying to make do, using their voice talents or having a fun time. Maybe they're art students doing their stuff, right? And so they're gaining followers. Maybe sometimes they're getting money. Some of them are even becoming big enough to do like real life events by themselves and stuff like that, right? Which is pretty amazing, honestly. Just starting from that sort of stuff. But what's fascinating is that they're starting to do collaborations. So it's like a couple big YouTube drama CD people are gathering together and doing what is essentially anime. Like they're doing drama CDs or like doing essentially an underground anime kind of, right? So my shout out is to something that honestly, like I complain, everybody's complaining, oh, there's so much, supply, there's so many talents in the anime industry, voice acting industry, animation industry, stuff like that. But it can't go anywhere because there's not that much demand, right? A lot of people in the anime industry are kind of picking the people from the top. And it's a very sort of niche industry as it is. So a lot of people, a lot of people, tier 2, even tier 1.5 voice actresses are not just getting paid enough. They have to work at McDonald's and stuff. So how do they solve that? And so we keep talking about, the government has to step in. Maybe the industry has to change the model or whatever it is. But these people are essentially pioneering. They're like making an underground anime essentially by themselves. And what my prediction is, assuming that YouTube and these other sort of social content platforms don't crash and burn, in a couple of years, maybe anywhere from 2 to 5 years, they'll have like a full sort of like underground anime industry, sort of like how the doujin industry works. That sort of works as a better revolving door into the official anime industry. And not only that, it will become solely self-sufficient on their own, rival official sort of anime industry stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like they don't have to sink or swim in the official anime industry. They can kind of start out with these sorts of like YouTube thing, which I think is fascinating. Like they just kind of made it for themselves and kind of created this ecosystem. So shout outs to them. But yeah, that's my shout out and call out. And Dark, you're up next.
My shout out and call out are going to be very similar. Because my shout out is going to be to Metal Gear Survive for being a pretty good game, especially for the price point. It's real fun, great time. I would say if you like the combat of Metal Gear Solid 5, which means you liked Metal Gear Solid 5 in any sort of respect, I'd say it's definitely worth picking up. Good stuff, really fun, like systems added to it and gameplay and stuff like that. Pretty decent campaign, pretty long campaign, and the story gets like real wacky and pretty funny. So it's enjoyable to say the very least about it. And so then that moves on to my call out, which is going to be to the amazing people who just literally don't know anything about the game, have not played the game, and just say fuck it because fuck Konami. Because you know who didn't make the game? The people who fired Kojima. They didn't then turn around and start crunching code and shit and make the game. So like you shouldn't just like write off the game because the publisher was bad and bad to a person. And even then, probably especially shouldn't do it because it's not like a man who wastes money of a publisher who had trust in him is totally innocent to begin with. So that's pretty much it.
But he's a genius, dude.
Yeah, it was very good. I remember when
Metal Gear?
Have you played?
I played V.
Have you seen
Major
20 minutes of cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 5?
Major burning up. What genius could have written such poetry?
Anyways, I think Nier, shout out and calls, please.
My call out is to the people that decided to come into the house and start shouting behind me and banging tables and shit when I'm very clearly trying to do something. That was very fun. I really appreciated that. And my shout out actually goes to Bowie Darling and the Frankxx. I'm still not too sure where this series is going, but I feel like we're at the point where, well, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm not gonna call this show like complete garbage unless it really takes some really weird curve and nosedives super hard. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's quite an interesting series, and the loads and loads of Evangelion references are pretty fun for me. So,
Okay.
yeah, looking forward to watching more of that.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Toast.
Hello.
Shout out to calls, please.
What are the shoutouts and callouts? Oh, you already did. My shout out is to Metal Gear Survive's loot system. I like loot. It's because I'm a masochist. I like loot systems where you loot stuff and then you craft it. I like a good loot and crafting system. Metal Gear Survive has that.
Okay.
Also,
And your call out?
my call out is to my call out is to Dark for making me think, telling me to do Emmy Gohan when I really didn't want to. Just like you
What?
did. What?
You said like 9 times last week you wanted to do that.
No, I did not. We'll have to go to the records because I don't remember me saying I
You
wanted
tried to
to.
do it instead of last encore.
Huh? No, I didn't.
Okay.
You did.
You
All
can't
right.
prove anything.
Anyways, with that, we are done with our shouts and calls. Again, thank you to all the viewers out there watching the stream, as well as the listeners here. We did take this again early. We did take this at starting from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but usually we stream this every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the number 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in anime, manga, visual novels, web novels, light novels, and all the other Japanese animation media available out there. We sometimes do other stuff, sidecasts, whatever, on the stream, so check those out as well. Check us out, follow us here, follow us on our social media, on Facebook, 4PlayAnimecast, and on our Twitter, at 4PlayAnimecast, for our latest updates, on our website, 4PlayAnimecast.moe, for our content. And yeah, that should be it. Next time, we'll probably be wrapping up some stuff. We'll be doing, again, covering series for probably 2 more episodes or so, and then going into our preview episode for the spring season. So look out for that.
It's already almost spring. Dang.
Yeah, it's about to go into March. So get ready for that. And with that, we'll see you next time. Okay.
But Spire, how can you do